I'm going to start with the problem. And in the business world, the problem, as we see it, is that between 40 and 70% of most IT budgets are spent on integration. This particular stat comes from Dave's book, The Data-Centric Revolution, and really the reason is that most IT systems have local data models and local knowledge graphs. And what I mean by that is, if you think the implied scope of a relational system is supposed to be the enterprise, with the idea that a relational database might serve many applications, and that's the case in a lot of cases, or in some cases, but in a lot of cases we find with clients that the actual scope of a relational system isn't even the enterprise. A lot of times it's just an application within the enterprise. And we say the implied scope, relational databases didn't go out to explicitly state a scope, but if you think about the way and identifiers and tables and things are defined, there's just no real mechanism for those to mean anything beyond the context of that particular application or that particular database. There's nothing built in to standard relational systems to move beyond that kind of localized view of your data. And so we end up with silos all over the place, and therefore the need to integrate. In the last, I'd say 10 years or so, we have seen the advent of labeled property graphs. When you see me use LPG, that means labeled property graphs. These are graphs where you can name the edges and give a label to the nodes to say what kind of nodes they are. But here again, the implied scope of a typical labeled property graph is a single graph database. You're generally working on one data set or maybe several data sets that have kind of been hand harmonized. But again, there's no real mechanism to reach beyond a single graph database in terms of sharing schema, sharing meaning, things like that. So this local problem ends up creating silo after silo of data that has to be integrated, hence the high integration costs. And to fix this kind of local data problem, what you need is, first off, you need kind of globaler IDs. Like, you need identifiers that will help you, that were designed to have a broader reach than just a local system, something that would work at a broader scale, at a minimum at an enterprise scale, and perhaps even broader than that, to work with partners or even to share data around the globe or to use public data around the globe. In addition to just IDs that kind of work more broadly than a local system, you need a shared schema. How can I talk about a schema like customers or orders or things like that and do it in a way that everyone else is using the same schema unambiguously? And how can we make sure we know what an order means to us or a customer means to us versus a customer to someone else, or across the departments in our enterprise? So that's another need: shared schema, clear meaning. And the other thing is, we really kind of need a level of vendor agnosticism, because once you get to the level of enterprise, you're not able to buy everything from just one vendor. So you kind of need something that's going to be able to work across vendors and not get you locked in.